Alright, yes, finally talking about episode 6 of The Mandalorian Season 3. It's been a busy week. So here is my spoiler warning as per usual. If you have not yet watched episode 6 of Mando Season 3 and you plan on it, I'd recommend against watching this video because I will be talking about what happens in it. Alright, you've been warned, here we go. And yeah, this episode is my least favorite of the season so far. I think everyone agrees on that, right? I mean, the way this episode starts out, we see Axe Woves is the new leader of those Mandalorian mercenaries, and he does that mission with those fishy aliens that are in love. Right there, right off the bat, I was like, something's off about this episode. Although actually, my second time watching it, I didn't mind it as much. Whatever, it's Star Wars. So last we left off, Bo-Katan was assigned to go find her mercenaries, to rally them in for the cause to retake Mandalore. And so she goes off, she's joined by D&G, and they go to this planet, Plazir 15, which is where they are, I guess. And I gotta say though, this world looks really cool. I mean, it's all futuristic and stuff. It reminds me of Tomorrowland, like from the movie Tomorrowland. I thought it was neat. The unfortunate thing is that this episode does get kind of fillerish, because in order to go talk to their mercenaries, they gotta do a side quest first. And so they walk into the room, and who do we see but Jack Black and Lizzo. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw that, I was like, oh my god, Jack Black is in Star Wars now? So they'll just let anyone into Star Wars now? I mean, I usually don't have a problem with whatever actor they decide to put into Star Wars. Danny Trejo showed up in Book of Boba Fett, I thought that was fine. And ultimately, I don't have a problem with the fact that Jack Black and Lizzo are in Star Wars canon now. But there was still something a little off about their characters, you know? I mean, Jack Black was Jack Black. He probably didn't even know he was being filmed. He was that eccentric weirdo kind of character. He was Nacho Libre in Star Wars. As for Lizzo, I didn't even know that was Lizzo until the credits came on. Because I'm not completely familiar with what Lizzo looks like, I guess. But her acting, wasn't the best. I mean, she's not really a great actress yet. She's a singer. But it turns out their characters, Captain Bombardier and the Duchess, they hired those Mandalorian mercenaries for their own protection, since Jack Black used to be in the Empire. He was reformed through the New Republic amnesty program, which we saw earlier in the season. So the side quest for Bo-Katan and Din Djarin is, there are these droids in the city that are malfunctioning and attacking people. So we gotta find out what's wrong. We go into the control center and we get another big cameo. Christopher Lloyd shows up, yeah, Dr. Emmett L. Brown himself.
We're sending you back to the future!
And it's funny though, because his acting I didn't think was the best either. Dare I say that? Dare I give a criticism to Christopher Lloyd of all people? I just kinda didn't really buy his acting in this episode. But I can forgive him, one, because he's Christopher Lloyd, and two, because he's kinda getting up there. So fine, whatever. If it were more than just a guest role, yeah, then I would probably be a little harsher. But ultimately, I think it's not my place to criticize Christopher Lloyd's acting. He could probably still beat the shit out of me. So I leave it alone. I did really like the scene where they go down and talk to the Ugnaughts. It's a nice throwback to The Mandalorian Season 1, because Bo-Katan's getting nowhere with them, and so Din Djarin has to step in, and he's like, I used to know the Ugnaught Queel, may he still rest in peace, and he's like, we need your help, I have spoken. I was like, cool. I like that he treats these Ugnaughts with respect. Because you get the feeling that they're like goblins from the wizarding world, you know? They're a very proud species, they think very highly of themselves, and they won't settle for anything less than respect. So they must be treated with such. I like that. It just makes this world and culture feel more real when there are those rules in place. Props to that. Fast forwarding a little bit, I gotta talk about that funny battle droid. Cause it's like, yay, we finally got a funny battle droid for the first time in live action, really. Cause they were all over the Clone Wars animated series, and they were seriously like the funniest thing in the Clone Wars animated series. So it was great to see one finally in live action. I wasn't expecting that at all, given the era the show takes place in. So that was cool to see. And he was funny too. And that droid bar, the one we saw in the trailer? Yeah, that's in this episode. It's where they go as part of this mystery solving. But that was also cool to see, because even since day one in Star Wars, we've seen bars that don't allow droids inside. So it was nice to know that there are droid exclusive bars as well. Awesome. Eventually we find out that Christopher Lloyd was the one behind all the droid malfunctions, so they bring him in and that's that. Case closed. So alright, now that that side quest is done, we can get back down to business. Back to the main story. After Grogu is knighted by the Duchess, which, cool, that's nice. So we finally go to talk to Axe Woves from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the mercenaries. And actually, I gotta say, I love what happens here. After a little scuffle between Bo-Katan and Axe Woves, the Darksaber is brought up, and Axe Woves is like, you gotta win that in battle. And so Bo-Katan does reacquire the Darksaber from Din Djarin with some really sound logic. Din Djarin recalls the events of, I think it was, episode 2 of this season? He was captured on Mandalore by whatever that machine was, and the Darksaber was taken from him. So he called Bo-Katan, Bo-Katan defeated that enemy, and therefore she is the rightful owner of the Darksaber now. Yeah, the logic is sound. We're given a good moment to think about it, and we're like, yep, that tracks. And so, once again, Bo-Katan is the rightful owner of the Darksaber, and therefore the rightful ruler of Mandalore. Alright, we're in business. Bo-Katan's plan has come to fruition, as I predicted it would. Love it! And so that is where this episode ends. Not a bad way to end my least favorite episode of this season so far. Again, I'm hearing a lot of people bagging on this season as a whole so far, and this episode aside, I really don't see why. I'm still digging it. We got just 2 episodes left, so let's get back to Navarro, let's gather our forces, and let's retake this shit. Can't wait. So, The Mandalorian, Chapter 22, Guns for Hire. Have you watched it yet? What are your thoughts on it? Was this episode your favorite episode of the entire series so far? That's cool. Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace!